Hey, what's up, champions? Welcome to Growth Mode. I'm your host, Donnie Bovine, the CEO and founder of Success Champions. And if you guys haven't checked out the Badass Business Summit coming up September 23rd through the 25th, 17 amazing speakers, 3 days of pure badassery. There'll probably be some rum drinking too. So we all know, look, you go to a conference to network and drink. I mean, to learn badass things. But come hang out with us at the Badass Business Summit. It'll be a good time. Hanging out with me, as always, my buddy Kevin Snow, the sales and automation genius and tactician. That dude got so much praise the other day sitting on a call with me and the famous Laura DeFranco as we bragged about how really crappy he is at what he does. I don't know what the hell he does, but he's supposed to be pretty good at it. But Kevin, what the hell are we talking about today?
So, Donnie, last time on episode 39, we talked about why people's first reaction is that they need more leads when they're not selling crap. And the actual issue is that they're not selling correctly. So, today we're going to talk about how you fix your sales problem.
Nice. So, couple of things. First and foremost, man, I don't think there's such a thing as a natural born salesperson. I don't think that's a real tangible thing. I think sales is a learned skill. You may have some natural DNA that allows you to do things others won't more naturally. Like you may naturally have more confidence. You may naturally have the ability to go up and say hi to somebody. But at the end of the day, it's about having, I know, Kevin, systems and processes in place that allow you to sell on a more proficient, basis. And the bottom line when it comes to sales, if you can't track it, you can't fix it. If you're not looking at it, you can't do the right things you need to be doing. And if you're not constantly trying to tweak how you're selling, what your sales process is, you're going to absolutely lose. But I said the word process, so Kevin's getting ready to geek out. So what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking I need to get like some applause soundtracks that I can play every time that you say that, just because it's awesome. No, you're absolutely right, though. You have to track what you're doing in your sales process and how you're interacting with your clients if you want to have any shot in hell to actually fix a sales process that's not working. Otherwise, you're just literally going to be taking a shot in the dark saying, hey, we're going to try this and hope it works and hope it fixes our crap. So when I'm working with clients who are having sales issues and they don't know really what the issue is or how to fix it, the first thing we look for is where they're actually losing the clients at in the process. So you need to be tracking where they're at in the sales cycle and what your conversion at each point is. So if I get them to step 2 in the sales process, there is a 50% chance that they are actually going to end up buying. If I get them to step 4 in the cycle, there is a 90% chance they're going to buy. So you need to see where the number is wrong and then figure out what you fucked up in that specific step and why people are dropping off there at a higher rate than other places.
Yeah, and I like this. And if you guys have followed the show at all, I'm a one call close. And I'm not trying to say I'm the greatest fucking salesperson in the world. What I'm saying is I suck so bad at follow up that I don't want to do it. So I try and take everything to a one call close. So in doing that, so for me, my process and system is more about checking the boxes to completely disqualify somebody. So as I'm going through my sales process, I know exactly every parameter that needs to hit for somebody to be able to say yes. 1, they've got to be able to make a decision. 2, they've got to have some money. 3, they've got to have desire. And 4, I've got to understand their world enough that my services will actually accomplish what I say it's going to accomplish. So if I can check all those boxes off, then, it's moving the steps through the process. And so for me, once I understand what the moves are, what the conversation flow is, now I can mentally check off each stage of this to go forward. When you're doing multi-tier sales and maybe ongoing call sales where there's multiple things and everything, you can do step-by-step systems and processes. You can actually have your pipeline built out so you know what stage of the sale they're in. Which is fantastic to watch the flow through of somebody going from stage 1 to, stage 6 or 7, whatever your process is to go through. Because and if you have a team of people underneath you, they can know what the chance of this deal actually closing actually is. So I think for a lot of you, it's one, getting a damn process, because Kevin and I, he's seen me do it several times. We're in front of a freaking room, we're talking to a group of people, we're like, cool, what's your operation process? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. What's your accounting process? And they just drill it out, right? But when you come and you ask them what the hell their sales process is, it's like a deer in the headlights. They have no damn clue. And so I think a lot of fixing your sales process or sales in general is to, one, get a damn process so you can repeat it over and over again.
You have to understand how you sell, and more importantly, you have to understand how your clients make that purchasing decision.
Yeah, how they buy.
Whether it's a yes or a no, you need to understand what gets them to that point where they're going to make that decision. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's really the first step. If I'm going to help someone figure out their process, we're going to go in and we're going to have lots of conversations with clients, both ones who bought and ones who didn't, and understand how they went through that process. And that's really also going to give you a ton of information on what they didn't like about your sales process and what was annoying to them and what worked well. And that's going to allow you to then figure out, all right, so here's where our friction points are with our prospects. How do we fix them?
Yeah, no, I love that. And as you were talking, what kept running through my head is I think there's even a step before the processes. And that step is you got to stop giving a shit what people think about you. It's people, and I think a lot of that comes from we're all assholes to some extent. And, we're this judgmental, pricks that we look at somebody and like, oh my God, I can't believe that person would wear that out in public. Or I can't believe they do their hair that way. Or they whatever. We're so judgmental. We think everybody's so judgmental to us. So I think as you're going into your processes, and we'll get back to processes, you got to turn off the noise of what other people think about you. But I think it's also healthy to understand what your overall flow is. So, you got to know, one, what is the business development process before you even get into sales? What are you doing to bring people into your world? Because everybody says, if I can just sit across from them, I'll get the deal done. The problem is people don't know how to get to the actual conversation itself. So I think you start back there and you start putting a process in place to say, okay, how do I find them? How do I engage them? How do I get them to a conversation? Then how do I actually get them to a meeting? And then what's the process in the meeting? Is it multiple sales calls? Is it whatever? And building it all up.
Yeah, I think the other important thing to remember when you're going through your process and trying to make changes and fix things that are working is that small changes can have a huge impact.
Yeah.
And they can have a huge impact down the sales cycle as well. So instead of doing huge drastic changes where you're basically fruit basket upset, you need to pick one thing that you want to fix.
Upset? What the fuck does that mean?
You haven't heard that?
No, I have no idea.
That must be a Yankee.
I have no idea.
A Yankee.
Your banana's mad at the apple? Wait, what the fuck is that? Why would your fruit basket be upset?
I don't know where the term came from, but it's basically it's like chaos. It is taking that basket of fruit and just throws it all everywhere. Donnie is now Googling basket upset to figure out what it is. Yeah, that is a term.
I am actually Googling it. I can't type fast enough. Oh Jesus!
But the goal is, if pick one little thing that you can track and you can see what impact it has.
It's it's actually a game. Who knew?
Is it a game too?
Yeah. Fruit basket turnover is the name of the game. So if you don't want to upset your fruit basket and have your fucking orange yet mad at your pear, then you need to get processes together. But, I like the idea behind it, because really, if you don't know what's screwing up, what's wrong, what's breaking, you can't fix it. And that's a lot of the idea behind having a really solid sales process, a system that you can do over and over and over again. Now, granted, the sales conversation must be fluid. It's got to be a conversation, and somebody's got to feel like they're not being pushed through a system. So we're not saying getting stoic. So if you're that high C in the disc profile, don't go, I have to get them to step 1, then step 2, then step 3. I mean, it's not that stoic. It's not that hard. But you've got to have a natural conversation flow to the process. And sometimes those steps will move themselves around in the conversation. You may find yourself early on talking about money, their decision process, those type of things. And then later on, you may come back and revisit it again. So it's being fluid in your overall process.
I think it's also important for the salesperson to understand what the triggers are.
Good word.
To understand that someone has moved to that next step. Because I think especially new salespeople or people who are really passionate about what they do try and push the process along and move the prospect into that next step of the sales process before they're ready. I'm ready to talk about pricing. Let's go talk about pricing when they're not there yet. Sure. So you need to understand what the signals are that let you know that, hey, I'm ready to now talk about this. It's kind of like the whole dating thing.
Yep.
Are they ready for you to lean in for a kiss or not?
Nice. So, if you don't want to upset your fruit basket, make sure you have a freaking sales process, systems, things that are duplicatable. Start looking at how you're doing things so you can actually tweak it, get it better, and move it further forward. And guys, as always, if you got any value out of the show, we haven't upset your fruit basket, do us a favor and share this out, subscribe to the show, tell somebody else about it. That simple move, guys, means the world to us. And get your asses over to thebadassbusinesssummit.com. Come hang out with us at the summit. We're going to be doing this podcast live, so you're going to want to be there. Love you, mean it. See you, bye.